car. Oh, 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 ouch. Oh, ta-da! Oh, that looks like it hurt. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Ralph Kinkley. Bye-bye. There he goes. How many of you remember that show, The Greatest American Heroes, back in 1981 to 1983? So I'm showing my age a little bit. Some of you newer people are sitting here going, what is she doing? You know, it came to me probably 2 weeks ago. We are all complete with instructions. And I thought back to the time when I was a little girl. I thought I was absent the day they handed out the life instruction manuals. You know, from the time I was very little, I was in kindergarten, I was in first grade, I was in second grade, and I can remember thinking, boy, those people really have their act together, and I just don't have a clue. You know, I was trying to watch what they said so I could say something similar. I was trying to watch their gestures and their movements so I could make sure that I wasn't way off base. And what that did was it caused me to live a life where I was just basically mimicking people instead of being me. And it's taken me a long time to get to the point where I can now be me. We are complete with instructions. Every single one of us here. Even when we feel like we're not sure what to do, even when we think we don't have any answers, we come complete with instructions. How does that make you feel? People are nodding their heads. This is good. This is good. Some of you may be sitting out there right now thinking, I'm not so sure. If some of you have been here for the last few weeks, the readings may have sounded familiar to you. I pulled some readings, original ones that you had not heard before, but a couple of them I used again because I wanted you to know that each and every Sunday when you come here and you hear anybody giving a lesson, you're being reminded of the instructions you already have within. Okay? So that first reading, keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. I think that was July 23rd's lesson. I'm not sure about that. But great instructions, right? Dream, go ahead. But make sure that you're dealing with the everyday reality that you have to face in order to achieve your dreams. Second reading, you must look within for value, but must look beyond for perspective. Ooh. Ooh. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm not really fond of looking beyond for perspective. I get this idea, and everything that I think and feel is based on my own personal perception. And that's true for all of us here, right? I can't look at life from your perspective or your perspective. I can only look at it through my eyes. When I remember this, then I can have more understanding for people. I can have more compassion for people. I don't have to agree with everybody, but I also don't have to judge because I have not gone through what they've gone through. And so my perspective may be a little different. And if I remember that, if I remember I do not have all of the facts of everything, then maybe our interactions will go a little bit better. And maybe we'll spread a little bit more of that love that I asked us to think about in the opening prayer today. How about this last one from Carl Jung? Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. So Carl is teaching a class based on a book. You can't sleep through your awakening. You can try, but you can't. It's like a snowball going down a hill with wonderful momentum, right? Once it starts, it just keeps going and going, and it gets faster. And I don't know about you, but since I've been coming to Unity, I definitely do not think the same way that I used to. And the judgments I used to have and the fears I used to have been alleviated. Now, they may have been replaced with other ideas, but for the most part, I'm happier, I'm healthier, because I'm whole. I know I'm complete and whole, regardless of what this body shows from time to time. Right? Complete and whole. Complete with instructions. You've got it. You've got access to it. There is an infinite supply of divine ideas that comes straight from God, that is within us, and we just need to call it forth. There is a certain willingness that needs to come with that as well, though. Because when you call forth these divine ideas, when you call forth, let's say, the 12 powers, faith, imagination, will, life, love, enthusiasm, or zeal for enthusiasm, right? When you call forth those things are going to show up in your life that you are going to need faith for, and love and enthusiasm, yes? Mm-hmm. So we have to be ready. I don't want to stay so rigid in my thinking that I lose out on opportunities because I haven't been willing to think outside the box a little bit. Opportunities can come my way and I might say, oh no, that's not for me, when in fact that might be the best choice for me because it doesn't appear to be what I wanted in the first place. So there's a certain willingness that has to come with this. I look inside and I awaken. Everything is in there, everything, complete with instructions. If you leave here today with nothing else, you are going to remember two things. One is the phrase, complete with instructions, and the other is my beautiful cape. You know, I put the plea out on Facebook. I needed a red cape, and all of my Unity friends were saying, why does she need a cape for Sunday? And my beautiful friend Helen came through and brought me this cape, so I appreciate that very much. The instructions are within us and all around us all the time. So what if you don't feel like it is? Does that mean that this is false? No. It just means I have a feeling. I'm feeling out of sorts. I'm feeling separated. When I feel separated, am I separated? No. Good answer. Yeah, no. We're not separated, but we can have those feelings of separation. So if I have a daily spiritual practice, then I know that certain days are going to be better than others. Certain days I'm going to have a better attitude than others. Certain days I am just going to remember faster that I am always connected, that I am whole and complete, that I am complete with instructions, that you are complete with instructions, that everyone comes complete with instructions, regardless of appearances. And I think in today's world, that is the most crucial thing for me to remember. We're seeing a lot of divisiveness in the world right now. This is the time where I need to remember I am connected to everyone. I release the judgment of who I want to be connected to and who I don't want to be connected to. I will focus on giving love, compassion, empathy, understanding to anyone and everyone. This does not mean that I need to accept any invitations to an argument. There's a phrase, I don't have to go to every fight I've been invited to. Got news for you, I didn't know that for years. And those of you who are laughing probably understand. There's a consciousness of wholeness that is so important for us, especially now, especially in this day and age. You know, we have the 12 powers, I mentioned those earlier. We have access to something called the Daily Word, which is a magazine, or you can get an app on your phone and you can just get the readings every day. Every day they send this out. There's an affirmation. There's a little, 3-paragraph description of what the affirmation is all about, and then there's a scripture at the bottom. And these subscriptions actually go out to millions of people in the world. And half of the time, the people don't even realize they're coming from Unity. They think it's coming from some Christian church of some sort. They don't realize it's Unity. I had the friend that dropped off the Cape had no idea that this was Unity. She was like, "You're kidding. I guess I don't know what Unity is." Today's affirmation. The phrase is my source, and it says, "I am never away from spirit as I move through this life experience." Would that fit in today's lesson? Mm-hmm. I think it does. I can go to this at any time. I don't have to go to today's date. I can go to any date, and I'll guarantee you that you will, like I do, you will find the affirmation that works for you. It always talks about my truth. I need reminders. I have something called a forgetter. Right? Life starts to happen. I start to react in a human way, in an ego way, to someone's statement or someone's email or someone's request. And I start to get agitated and I start to get all upset. I just need the reminder. And then I go, "Oh, I could have had a V8. No, I'm just kidding." I could have been kinder. It doesn't matter that they weren't being so kind to me. I could have been kinder. It's about what I'm doing. It's about what I'm giving. Friends, you're complete with instructions. I want you to ask yourself, how does this make you feel? How can you wrap your head around just how big a deal this really is? Sometimes we talk about the principles, we talk about God, but our actions don't always match what our words are saying. So when I start to think about the words that we speak, and then the words, how does this really make you feel? If I tell you you are complete with instructions, does that give you hope? Does that give you excitement? Does that make you afraid that, oh no, now what's in store? Put this little logo together, and I've never described myself as a very craftsy kind of person, arts and crafts. And there's Scotch tape involved, and there's paper clips involved. And I know it's pretty rough, but I got the point across, yes? I come complete with instructions. There is nothing I am going to face. There is nothing that you are going to face that you cannot walk through. Doesn't matter what it is. Even a medical diagnosis, even losing a loved one, all of those things. We know in principle that energy never dies. We know in principle that we continue on. Is it hard on a human level? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not downplaying that at all. And I'm not saying to avoid it, and I'm not saying to deny it. We are human, having a human experience, but we are spiritual beings. Right? So I know when something is a human experience. Do you know when something is a human experience? That could be our phrase for the week, right? Oh, that's just another human experience. This is really a big deal. When I first had this idea about complete with instructions, I have no idea how I tied in Ralph Hinckley to this. My power of imagination was working on overdrive. I want to talk for one last minute here about that song, I Don't Need to Know. Wasn't that beautiful? Yeah, it was just perfect. I want you to understand that when the phrase comes out and it says, I don't need to know, God knows, that God is referring to the divinity within us. God is not a being in the clouds zapping us going, you get money, you get the man. Oh wait, where's Denise? You get the man. And every time I talk about this concept of God doesn't zap us from above, I skip over Denise with getting the relationship, so I have to remember to zap her with the relationship. There is not a being up in the sky saying so-and-so gets to hit a home run today and so-and-so gets to score a touchdown, but you don't. It doesn't work that way. There is the Christ presence within us. Again, I remind you, that is within everyone. Even those friends of yours on Facebook who differ from you. Even those people in the grocery store who don't have the same opinions as you do. The Christ presence is within everyone, and this is the most important time in ever to remember this. We're not going to solve anything anyway without beaming love at people. Even if they appear to not receive it, it doesn't matter, because you've sent it to them. They're getting that energy. What they do with it is up to them, but it cannot hurt them, and it cannot hurt us. No one, absolutely no one, is excluded from this. Complete with instructions. The next time that you're feeling overwhelmed, the next time that you're facing a challenge that you just can't even begin to imagine what the solution could be, think of that phrase. I'm not standing up here in front of you telling you that I come complete with instructions. I'm telling you that we all, as one, come complete with instructions. Divine instructions. I got chills going up and down my body right now, because this is huge. And maybe even if it doesn't feel so big for you now, it might when you're driving home, or it might later on tonight, or later on in the week when you think about this. If you doubt what I'm saying, that's okay. But what if I'm right? I am a superhero after all, come on. I have my red cape. Right? Ralph Hinckley did not have instructions with that uniform. That's what that was all about, right? He flew into walls and he crashed down and fell down mountains and things like that. Because when he opened it up, the uniform was there, but there was no instruction manual. Just like there was no instruction manual for me when I was in kindergarten. And first grade and 8th grade and high school. And young adulthood. And marriage. I didn't know the instruction manual was within. I'm here to tell you it is. I'm here to tell you we all have the same copy. Nobody has a better version than the next. There are no updates to be downloaded. Think about that this week. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to have you tell me what you're thinking about as we go through this. And if you're skeptical about this, it's okay. But think about the possibilities. What if Kathleen is right? What if we are complete with instructions? There are no limits, my friends. And so it is. Amen. And now I invite you to settle into your chair comfortably. You can close your eyes if you'd like, but you don't have to. Take a deep breath now. Exhale out, relaxing into the moment. Settle into your heart space. As you breathe, you can feel the air moving through your heart, through your body, and exhaling back out again. I come complete with instructions. I am whole. I am love. I give no power to fear. The answers are within me. I feel the energy moving through my body, knowing it is love, it is peace.